Archangel Michael says, a surprising news is coming into your house. Open this now to receive what heaven has been preparing for you. My beloved, listen closely for a moment, because something in your spirit has already sensed a door knocking. Before your mind could explain it or your emotions could catch up, a quiet stirring rose inside you, whispering that a message was drawing near. This is the opening of that message, the first gentle tap of a heavenly knock inviting you to lean in, breathe, and receive what has been trying to reach you. And as you hear these words, you may feel the shift between confusion and clarity, like fog lifting just enough for light to break through. Dear one, Archangel Michael does not come with pressure or force. His presence moves like a calm but steady wind, guiding you toward release after a long season of delay. You have carried questions and unanswered prayers, and some days the silence felt louder than guidance. But silence is not abandonment, and waiting is not rejection. Often, the stretching that feels like delay is the preparation that gives release its meaning. Right now, heaven leans toward you with a message carried in peace, urgency that awakens, not frightens. You may have felt stuck, as if life paused at an intersection and every option blurred into uncertainty. That stillness was not punishment. It was the divine hand slowing you long enough so that when clarity arrived, you would recognize it not as coincidence but confirmation. Confusion clouds the inner hearing, but clarity comes in small waves, in the breath you take, in the presence settling around you, in the quiet sense that you are not here by accident. Before we go deeper, take a moment to align with this message. Inhale gently, letting your lungs fill, and exhale the tension resting in your chest. Do this again, slower this time, giving yourself permission to stop rushing. And once more, a third breath, not for performance but for presence. With these breaths you create space for clarity to land. You shift from doing to receiving, from noise to openness, from reaching outward to allowing what heaven is placing before you. If you feel warmth, tingling, or simple steadiness rising through you, trust it. These are early signs of Michael's nearness, steady, protective, and unmistakably kind. His role is not to overwhelm but to stand with you, sword drawn against confusion, ready to usher in the clarity that has waited for permission to enter. You might wonder why this message arrives now. It is because your timeline has reached a turning point. What once felt like delay is thinning, loosening, making room for release that aligns with your growth rather than your fear. Michael brings reassurance. You have not missed your moment. Nothing meant for you has slipped away. What belongs to you has been safeguarded until you are strong enough to receive it without losing yourself. As you listen, feel the difference between the chaos that once circled your thoughts and the calm settling now. This shift is the movement from confusion into clarity, from pacing in uncertainty to standing in purpose. You are being invited to let noise fall away so revelation can rise. You are being prepared to receive surprising news, news that may begin softly but grow stronger as you choose to welcome it. As you breathe into this moment, remind yourself that openness is not weakness but wisdom, and that every small shift you feel is part of an unveiling moving in your favor. If your heart feels tender or hopeful, that is the doorway opening. If your spirit feels curious or awake, that is the knock becoming clearer. This moment is not the full message but the invitation to it, the threshold of something meaningful that wants to enter your life with grace. Hold this sense of readiness gently, for the next part of the message will reveal why this knock is arriving now and what season of your life it is answering. Beloved, there is a reason these words are reaching you in this exact moment, and it is not by accident or coincidence. You are in a season where the weight you've been carrying has begun to feel heavier than usual, not because you are weak, but because you are transitioning from one spiritual landscape into another. This shift can feel like standing between two worlds, one that no longer fits, and one that has not fully revealed itself. You may have wondered why your emotions have felt tender, why small things have triggered deep responses, or why moments of silence felt sharper than before. These sensations are not signs of failure, they are signals that your inner world is adjusting to a higher level of clarity. Many people assume that spiritual growth feels light and effortless, but you, dear heart, know the truth. Transformation often begins with tension. The fear that tries to cling to you in this season is the fear that arises whenever old patterns begin to fall away. It whispers that you are alone, that guidance is distant, that heaven has gone quiet. But silence does not equal absence, and stillness does not equal abandonment. In fact, the very contrast you've been feeling, fear pressing in while faith pulls you forward, is evidence that presence surrounds you more than you realize. In the moments when you felt isolated, you were not being separated from support, you were being positioned for deeper recognition. There are seasons when heaven steps so close that the usual noise of life becomes muted. What you interpreted as distance was actually a form of protection, a sacred cocooning meant to sharpen your spiritual hearing. You were not being left alone, you were being drawn inward, where the presence of God and the guardianship of Archangel Michael could meet you without distraction. If you look back over the past week, you may notice that the same theme has appeared in different forms, a repeating feeling, a repeating frustration, or a repeating longing. These patterns are not random. They are part of the curriculum of the season you're walking through. Heaven brings things to the surface when they are ready to be released, not when you feel the most prepared. This is why certain memories, concerns, or old wounds may have resurfaced unexpectedly. They have risen because the time has come for clarity to replace confusion and for faith to speak louder than fear. You are hearing this message now because your spirit is sensitive, awake, and receptive, even on days when you doubt it. You notice things others overlook. You feel shifts before they appear. You carry a quiet wisdom shaped by experience, even if you don't always acknowledge it. This is why heaven trusts you with messages like this. You are not fragile, you are finely attuned. And the emotional heaviness you've been navigating is simply the price of having a heart that listens deeply. Before this section closes, take one simple grounded step. When you have a quiet moment later today, open your journal or the notes on your phone and write down one repeating challenge from the past 7 days. Not to judge yourself, but to recognize the pattern that heaven is highlighting. Awareness is the doorway to release, and naming what you felt is the first act of clarity. Hold this recognition gently, for the next part of the message will reveal the unseen forces that have been pressing against your progress and why their influence is beginning to break. Beloved, as you step into this moment of recognition, you may begin to sense that not all resistance in your life has been visible. Some of the hardest battles you've faced have not come from people but from patterns, quiet, persistent undercurrents that drain your energy and blur your clarity. These patterns form the unseen pushback you've been feeling, and understanding them is the first step toward reclaiming your flow. For many souls who carry deep compassion, the first unseen pattern is exhaustion. Not the kind that comes from physical work alone, but the kind that builds from being emotionally available to everyone while rarely receiving support in equal measure. When your energy leaks in too many directions, life begins to feel like scarcity rather than overflow. But this is not betrayal by the world, it is your body calling you back to balance. Another subtle form of pushback is the habit of overgiving. You pour out your time, attention, and emotional labor because your heart is generous by nature. Yet this generosity, when stretched beyond its healthy edges, becomes a quiet betrayal of your own needs. Not because you intend to hurt yourself, but because you forget that even love requires boundaries to grow in a protected space. You may also notice the pattern of unclear boundaries, those moments when you sensed discomfort but stayed silent, or when you said yes out of guilt rather than genuine desire. These small choices accumulate until you find yourself depleted, wondering why your spirit feels tight or your peace feels thin. This is not evidence that something is wrong with you. It is a sign that protection is trying to rise within you. Discouragement is another unseen force that presses against your progress. It arrives quietly, whispering that your efforts don't matter or that your prayers are unnoticed. But discouragement is not a prophetic truth. It is a temporary fog that forms when you've been carrying more than your heart was created to hold alone. Heaven does not speak through hopelessness. Discouragement is a shadow, not a sentence. And then there are the narratives you've absorbed from past seasons, experiences where you felt overlooked, undervalued, or taken for granted. These memories can echo inside you long after the moment has passed, creating a sense of inner scarcity, convincing you that protection is distant. But beloved, heaven has never stopped guarding you. What felt like abandonment was often redirecting. What felt like betrayal was often a boundary being placed in your favor. You may have also pressed forward during times when your spirit needed rest, trying to push through in your own strength. But divine timing never demands you to sprint on empty. Sometimes the slowing, the pausing, the constriction you felt was actually protection keeping you from moving into spaces that were unprepared to honor you. These unseen forces can create the illusion that you are blocked, but in truth, much of the resistance has been your soul asking for a new rhythm. A rhythm where clarity replaces confusion, where protection replaces betrayal, where overflow replaces scarcity. To help you step into that rhythm, you are invited to speak a simple boundary statement, one that honors your heart without creating walls. I choose to give from a place of peace, and I allow myself to step back when my spirit needs rest. Speak it gently, not as a rule but as permission. Boundaries are not barriers, they are the guardians of your energy. As you begin to integrate this awareness, notice how your inner world softens. The more clearly you see the patterns, the less power they hold over you. And as these old currents release their grip, space opens for direction, protection, and unexpected guidance to flow in ways that once felt out of reach. Hold this recognition with compassion, dear one, because the next part of your journey will reveal the signs and confirmations that heaven has been placing along your path, waiting for you to notice their quiet glow. Beloved, as you move through this unfolding season, you may begin to realize that heaven has been whispering to you far longer than you knew. The signs have not always arrived in dramatic flashes or unmistakable moments. More often, They have drifted into your days like soft echoes, gentle hints that a message was trying to reach you. These quiet touches are the language of God and the angels, guiding without forcing, revealing without overwhelming. You may have noticed dreams that repeat a theme, standing at a doorway, seeing light in unexpected places, or encountering someone who speaks words you remember long after waking. Dreams often become the canvas where heaven paints what your waking mind is too busy to notice. These moments aren't random, they are invitations, helping you understand what is growing within you and what is preparing to enter your life. There may have been emotional nudges as well, those sudden waves of peace or unexpected pauses that stopped you mid-thought. Perhaps you felt a tug to reach out to someone, or a moment of clarity rising out of nowhere when everything around you felt uncertain. These nudges are not coincidences. They are the subtle ways heaven steadies your steps, offering guidance that meets you right where you are. And then, dear one, there are the repeating numbers, names, or phrases that seem to follow you. Maybe you kept seeing 111, 222, or 444 without looking for them. Maybe the same name appeared multiple times in a day, or the same message surfaced through different voices. These patterns are not meant to be chased, they are meant to be carried. When you chase signs, anxiety grows. When you carry them, peace expands. This is the contrast of chasing versus carrying. One strains, the other receives. You might also recall small coincidences that felt too purposeful to ignore, hearing a line in a song that spoke directly to your situation, stumbling upon a passage that mirrored your prayer, or encountering a stranger whose kindness felt perfectly timed. Each of these moments is a thread in the tapestry of divine communication, gently reminding you that you are held, seen, and guided. To help you recognize this guidance more clearly, take a grounded step. Begin a simple, 3-day sign journal. For the next 3 days, write down anything that catches your attention: dreams, emotions, numbers, names, images, or unexpected moments of peace. Do not analyze them. Just notice. This practice opens your awareness without forcing meaning, allowing clarity to rise naturally. As you honor these signs, you will begin to sense the steady presence that has walked with you all along. And in the next part of this message, you will understand why these confirmations matter and how the spiritual authority protecting you has been shaping your path with intention and love. Beloved, the reason this message is reaching you now is because heaven is not only watching over you, heaven is actively guiding you, strengthening you, and preparing you. And at the center of that protection stands Archangel Michael, not as a distant symbol but as a living presence commissioned by God to guard, defend, and illuminate your path. You are not hearing this because you are fragile. You are hearing this because you are valued, and because your life has entered a moment where divine protection wants to make itself known more clearly than before. God is the source of every good and perfect gift. Everything that brings restoration, clarity, renewal, or courage ultimately flows from that source. Angels do not replace God. They do not override God. They serve God. They carry out assignments of justice, healing, and deliverance. They protect the vulnerable, strengthen the weary, and help clear pathways when the unseen world feels thick with resistance. Archangel Michael, in particular, has always been associated with the breaking of chains, the lifting of burdens, and the shielding of the faithful. His presence does not bring fear. His presence replaces fear. You may not see him with your physical eyes, but you have likely felt his nearness in moments you couldn't explain, times when peace arrived suddenly, when danger seemed to pass unexpectedly, or when strength rose inside you even though exhaustion should have taken over. This is the contrast between what is seen and unseen. Fear focuses on the visible, the problem, the delay, the uncertainty. Faith listens for the invisible support surrounding you, the nudges, the quiet protection, the opportunities that arrive right on time. Many people imagine divine protection as something dramatic, but often it looks like subtle redirection. A conversation that didn't happen. A door that didn't open. A decision you suddenly felt unease about. These are not setbacks, they are shields. Michael's sword is not only for battle, it is also for boundaries, cutting away what is not aligned with your purpose and keeping your spirit from being entangled in situations that would drain your strength. There are moments when you have felt overwhelmed, moments when the pressure around you seemed too heavy, moments when your thoughts raced faster than your prayers. Yet even in those times, something kept you from falling apart. Something nudged you to keep going. Something reminded you that hope hadn't left. That something was the cooperation between your spirit and the protection assigned to you. Heaven never forces itself into your life, because free will is honored even in spiritual warfare. But when you open your heart, even slightly, divine protection rushes in like light entering a darkened room. You are not being guided so that you depend on angels. You are being guided so that you remember you are supported. The goal is not to make you feel powerless but to empower you, to help you rise with more clarity, more courage, and more discernment. Michael speaks when a soul is approaching a turning point, when clarity is forming, and when the next season requires a deeper awareness of the forces working for you. Not to scare you, but to steady you. In this moment, bring your hand to your heart or rest your feet firmly on the ground, whichever feels more natural. Take a slow breath and allow your body to anchor itself. This simple grounding posture reminds your spirit that you are safe, that you are supported, and that you are never navigating your challenges alone. When you feel spiritually overwhelmed, return to this posture. It is a way of saying, I am here, I am present, and I choose faith over fear. As you breathe, imagine the unseen presence around you, not dramatic, not forceful, but steady and bright. Imagine the shield of protection that has been with you since long before this message found you. Imagine the path ahead clearing, not all at once, but step by step, as guidance becomes easier to recognize and peace becomes easier to hold. Keep this awareness close, for the next part of your journey will show you how the delays you've experienced are beginning to shift and how the path toward release is opening right in front of you. Beloved, every season of transformation begins with a quiet turning, a subtle moment when something inside you whispers that the way things have been is not the way things must remain. You are standing in that moment now. What once felt like delay is beginning to soften, and the heaviness that lingered around your steps is loosening. The path from stagnation to movement does not start with dramatic breakthroughs, it begins with awareness, a gentle noticing that something in your spirit is shifting. This awareness is the first light of release, the first sign that clarity is preparing to rise where confusion once settled. Awareness reveals where you've been stretched thin, where you've carried burdens that were never yours, and where your heart has grown restless from waiting. It is not condemnation. It is illumination. When you can see your inner landscape honestly, you reclaim the power to respond rather than react. Many of the delays you felt were not punishments but pauses, giving your spirit space to grow strong enough to carry what you prayed for. Awareness reminds you that you are not stuck, you are awakening. From awareness comes alignment. Alignment is the moment when your thoughts, choices, and expectations begin to shift toward what you truly desire rather than what fear has trained you to settle for. It is the quiet recalibration of your inner compass. Alignment doesn't demand perfection, it simply asks for willingness. When your heart leans toward clarity, heaven meets that lean with guidance. When your intentions turn toward peace, peace becomes easier to recognize. This movement from confusion to clarity is not forced, it is chosen, one small yes at a time. As alignment deepens, your next step is courage. Not the loud, heroic courage the world celebrates, but the gentle courage that shows up in small decisions. Picking up the phone. Saying no when you usually say yes. Allowing yourself to rest. Releasing what has expired. These small acts begin to dismantle the patterns that once held you back. Every small step is powerful, because it shifts your internal posture from waiting to participating. And when you participate in your own healing, release begins to find you more quickly. Beloved, your path is not defined by how fast you move but by how faithfully you respond. Delay begins to break the moment you choose movement over stagnation, clarity over confusion. Each small step becomes a seed planted in the soil of your future. You are not trying to force outcomes, you are opening space for them. This is how divine timing works. It meets you in motion, not in fear. To anchor this shift, choose one small area of your home or workspace to tidy or reorganize today. Not as a chore, but as a symbol. Clearing even a small corner mirrors the clearing happening inside you. When you make physical space, spiritual space expands with it. This simple act sends a message to heaven: I am ready. I am making room. I welcome what is meant for me. And heaven responds to readiness with movement. As you walk this reversal path, notice how your spirit begins to steady. Fear loses its grip when clarity takes its place. Delay dissolves when your actions reflect your hope rather than your hesitation. You do not need to rush, you only need to continue. Divine timing does not arrive early or late, it arrives aligned. And you are entering alignment now. The release prepared for you will not overwhelm you. It will meet you gently, step by step, as you continue choosing awareness, alignment, courage, and openness. Trust that your willingness is enough. Trust that your small steps matter. Trust that heaven has already begun to clear the way. Hold this truth in your heart, for the next part of your journey will show you how to welcome this unfolding through rituals and declarations that strengthen your spirit and anchor your faith. Beloved, as you arrive at this sacred point in the message, you may feel a quiet readiness unfolding inside you. The shifts you have sensed are not imagined. They are the beginnings of a new alignment taking shape in your spirit. And now, to welcome what heaven is placing before you, you are invited into simple rituals and declarations that strengthen your faith and soften the hold of fear. These practices are gentle, not demanding, because divine guidance never forces itself into your life. It only asks for openness. Rituals help you create a bridge between intention and experience. They give your spirit a rhythm to lean on when your emotions feel unsure. One of the simplest and most powerful rituals you can practice begins with stillness. Take a moment, place one hand on your heart, and breathe deeply. With each inhale, draw in calm. With each exhale, release the tension you no longer need to carry. This small act becomes a signal to heaven: you are present, you are listening, and you desire clarity more than fear. Now, dear one, allow these words to move through you as a quiet prayer. God, anchor my heart in peace. Surround me with your light. Guide me with wisdom, and steady me in every place where I feel uncertain. Speak it softly, or simply let it rise within you. This prayer is not for performance but for grounding, a reminder that you are supported by a presence greater than any worry. Next comes the declaration, a statement of alignment that helps shift your inner posture from fear to faith. You may choose to say, I welcome clarity, protection, and divine guidance into my life. Let the word settle, not as a demand but as an agreement. When you declare what you are ready for, you open the door for heaven to respond more clearly. Let this be your morning ritual, one declaration spoken aloud each day for 7 days. This practice builds consistency, gently training your spirit to recognize peace more quickly than anxiety. These rituals are not meant to control outcomes. They are meant to align your heart with the truth that you are not navigating this season alone. Fear may try to tighten its grip, but faith expands whenever you pause, breathe, and speak from a place of trust. Even the smallest practice can steady your spirit and remind you that divine protection is active, not distant. Hold this truth dearly. As you hold these rituals close, prepare yourself with expectancy. For in the next part of your journey, you will learn how the coming days may reveal subtle yet meaningful shifts, markers of the release that has already begun moving toward you. Beloved, as you continue opening to the message unfolding around you, it is important to understand that divine movement often reveals itself in rhythms rather than sudden leaps. Heaven's timing is not meant to pressure you, it is meant to reassure you that you are not walking blindly. These next windows, 24 hours, 3 days, 7 days, and 14 days, are not deadlines or guarantees. They are gentle markers where shifts often begin to surface, both within you and around you. Think of them as moments of grace, quiet intervals where release begins replacing delay and where overflow begins nudging out scarcity. In the next 24 hours, the shift may be entirely internal. You may notice a calmer breath, a spark of hope, or a loosening of tension that has been sitting on your chest. Sometimes the first sign of movement is not an external change but the subtle return of clarity. Even a single moment of peace can be the first ripple of divine timing at work. If nothing dramatic happens, trust that the internal rearrangement is still enough. The soul often shifts before circumstances do. Within 3 days, you may experience synchronicities, a conversation that feels perfectly timed, a piece of guidance arriving through a friend, a sense of direction becoming clearer. This is the window when heaven tends to send affirmations, reminding you that release is already in motion. Not because you are chasing signs, but because you are carrying readiness. And readiness attracts alignment. Around the 7-day mark, small external openings may begin to appear. A delayed task suddenly moves forward. An opportunity you thought was closed becomes possible again. An unexpected moment of understanding softens a strained relationship. These are not coincidences but reflections of the inner clarity you've been cultivating. When your internal world shifts from scarcity to overflow, your outer world begins to echo that shift. By 14 days, many souls notice a deeper sense of steadiness. Even if every situation has not resolved, something within feels anchored. You may stand a little taller, breathe a little easier, or see choices more clearly than before. This does not mean everything manifests at once. It means that release has taken root and is working through your life in ways you will continue to recognize. To help you stay grounded through these windows, create a simple journaling checkpoint for each one. After 24 hours, write one sentence about any internal shift. After 3 days, note any coincidences or gentle confirmations. After 7 days, reflect on movement, no matter how small. After 14 days, write what feels different within you. This is not about measuring progress, it is about witnessing grace. Hold these windows with soft hands, dear one. You are stepping into a rhythm where delay dissolves into movement, and the path ahead becomes clearer with every breath. And as you continue, the next part of your journey will help you walk this path with wisdom, discernment, and peace. Beloved, as you step into the gentle rhythm of release, discernment becomes your anchor. This season is not only about what you welcome but also about what you wisely avoid. When your spirit begins to awaken, fear often tries to rush you into quick decisions, impulsive commitments, or emotional reactions that drain your peace. But this is where you shift from fear to faith, from isolation to presence. You are being invited to walk with wisdom, confidence, and a calm heart that knows how to pause before stepping forward. One of the most common missteps in seasons of transition is acting too quickly. When clarity first begins to rise, you may feel excitement or urgency, and that excitement can unintentionally push you toward choices that are premature. Fear whispers, "Move now or you'll miss your chance," but faith says, "What is meant for you will not pass you." When faith leads, you step with intention rather than anxiety. You choose your path instead of being dragged by pressure. Another misstep is accepting responsibilities or emotional burdens that are not yours to carry. You have spent much of your life being strong for others, and while your compassion is a gift, it can also leave you feeling isolated when you take on more than your spirit is designed to hold. Discernment reminds you that presence is powerful, but overextending is harmful. You are allowed to protect your peace. You are allowed to step back when your spirit needs rest. Boundaries are not walls, they are expressions of wisdom. A third misstep is spiritual confusion, seeking too many voices at once. When you are hungry for answers, it's easy to reach outward instead of inward, to search for direction everywhere except from the one who knows your path best. But the presence guiding you does not shout over noise, it speaks in stillness. Discernment grows when you choose depth over distraction, presence over panic. To support you in walking wisely, here is a simple 3-question filter to use before making any financial, relational, or spiritual decision. Does this align with peace? Does this honor my well-being? Does this reflect who I am becoming rather than who I used to be? If the answer to any of these questions is no, pause. If the answer is yes, proceed with confidence. This filter helps you choose from clarity, not confusion. Beloved, you are not meant to navigate this path alone. The presence that surrounds you is steady, guiding you gently away from missteps and toward alignment. As you embrace discernment and set healthy boundaries, you create space for blessings to arrive without resistance. Hold this wisdom close, for the final part of your journey will draw everything together, opening the door to restoration and inviting you to step fully into what heaven has been preparing for you. Beloved, as we arrive at this final moment together, pause and notice what has shifted in you. The very fact that you are here means something in your spirit has been opening, softening, awakening. The surprising news that began as a whisper is now a doorway, one you are standing in front of with more clarity, peace, and readiness than when you first arrived. What felt confusing even days ago may now feel lighter, and what once seemed distant may feel strangely close, as if the unseen has begun to take form. This is the beauty of divine timing. It works quietly at first, almost imperceptibly, until suddenly you realize something within you has changed. You are no longer bracing for disappointment. You are leaning toward expectation. You are no longer scanning the horizon in fear. You are sensing guidance with trust. This is the contrast between confusion and clarity, between what you saw and what has been working in the unseen all along. Heaven has not been silent. Heaven has been preparing. Archangel Michael's message has not been about predicting a single event. It has been about preparing your spirit to recognize the shift already moving toward you. Restoration rarely arrives with fanfare. It comes in steady waves, warmth returning to your hope, courage returning to your voice, and direction returning to your steps. Even now, something in you knows that you have turned a corner. The heaviness that once held you still no longer fits. A new chapter is pressing gently at the door, asking to be welcomed. The restoration entering your life may unfold in subtle ways at first. Maybe a conversation that once felt strained begins to soften. Maybe an opportunity you thought was lost reappears. Maybe a spark of inspiration lights up a part of your purpose you forgot you carried. Or maybe, and this is often the greatest miracle, you begin to see yourself with kinder eyes, more faith, more strength, more grounding. Whatever the form, the shift is real. You are stepping into alignment with what has been waiting for you. And now, dear one, the door is open. You do not need to force anything. You simply need to step forward with intention. To mark this moment, take a gentle action, a single step that aligns with the direction your spirit is moving. It can be small, sending a message you've postponed, organizing a corner of your space, or writing down one goal you feel called to honor. Let your action be a statement of readiness, not pressure. If you feel led, speak this affirmation aloud or place it in the comments as a seal of your openness. I am ready to receive with clarity. Let this be both your declaration and your invitation, a signal to heaven that your heart is steady and your hands are open. Beloved, the journey we've walked together in these words is only the beginning. What unfolds next will meet you in grace, strength, and divine timing. The door is open. Step gently, step faithfully, and step knowing you are guided every moment of the way.